Hello everyone, it's the Wizard Dude yet again. As always, it has been a spell and a half since I did a book review. I've mostly done movie reviews, but now for a book review, which also incorporates the two movies it had. And I'm today reviewing Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. It's one of my favorite books by Roald Dahl ever since I was in 5th grade. The first Roald Dahl book I ever read, though, was George's Marvelous Medicine, The Fall of the Way. Anyway, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, I don't know where it's set exactly, but it's really hard to decide, actually. Charlie Bucket is the main character of the book. How do you do, and how do you do some more? He's very pleased to meet you. The kid lives with his parents and his 4 grandparents. Mr. Bucket's parents are Grandpa Joe and Grandma Josephine, while Mrs. Bucket's parents are Grandpa George and Grandma Georgina, who's all asleep on a bed and haven't left it in years at that point. Anyway, Charlie's father works in a toothpaste factory, screwing on the caps of the toothpaste tubes. But sometimes he picks up mixed pieces for Charlie's depiction of the Wonka Chocolate Factory. Grandpa Joe in the new movies that he used to work for him. I don't know about in the book, but he does in the movie. And he even describes how Mr. Wonka's a genius with making chocolate, even making an Indian palace for Prince Pondicherry. Needless to say, it didn't hold up for more than a day. It was melted. He even warned him to eat it, but the factory, Grandpa Joe described as nobody ever comes in and nobody ever goes out. Mainly it's because of the spies, Finkelgrubber, Prodnose, and Slugworth. Especially Slugworth. Grandpa Joe even says, "Oh, that Slugworth, he was the worst" in the old movie. But it was announced that day that there were 5 golden tickets spread all over the candy stores throughout the world. So the first ticket is found by a German boy named Augustus Gloop, who was very chubby and loves to eat. He and his whole family love to eat, as a matter of fact. How gluttonous he is. So, then the race is on to find the tickets all over the place. One girl claims to have, in Russia, named Charlotte Rousset, claims to have found a ticket, but it turned out to be a fake. Eek. And one scientist even made a computer to see where the locations are. But the computer does ask him, what would a computer do with a life supply of chocolate? Before long in Buckinghamshire, England, they find the second ticket is found by a Veruca Salt. A very cute girl, but despite her cute demeanor looking, she is actually a total brat. She even said, "I wanted to be the first to find a golden ticket." So the ladies in his factory, in Mr. Salt's factory, had to shell chocolate bar wrappers instead of nuts. Rupert and Angina kept him real busy. It was around this time also that Charlie's family began to starve, because it goes something like this in the new movie. The rise in candy sales led to a rise in cavities, which led to a rise in toothpaste production. With the extra money, the factory decided to modernize, eliminating Mr. Bucket's job. Man, that was a blow to his pride. The third ticket was found by a red-headed girl named Violet Beauregard, whom, in the new movie, is stated to be from Atlanta, Georgia. She chewed a single piece of gum for 3 months solid. Quite the feat. I don't know what the longest gum chewed record is in real life, though. Not long after that came Charlie's birthday, where, after eating a Wonka's Nutty Crunch surprise, he doesn't find a ticket there. But the fourth one is found by a Mike TV, whom, in the new movie, is stated to be from Denver, Colorado. He's dressed like a cowboy and loves to watch TV. Bit rude, too. That makes him not cool. But a bit later, Charlie finds a different piece of currency depending on what it is. In the US, it was a dollar bill in the book, and the new movie, it was a $10 bill. In the UK, it was some kind of pound piece, and in the old movie, it was a quarter. that he used to buy a Whipple Scrumptious Fudge Mellow Delight, and that turned out to have the final ticket. In the new movie, apparently somebody had already found the golden ticket in the old one. In both of them, the ticket was a fake. Grandpa Joe is ecstatic when he sees that he had the final ticket, and the movie sings the "I've Got a Golden Ticket" song, which is iconic. When the day comes, they had to bring one or both of their parents. Now, in the book, the kids bring both their parents, except for Charlie, who brings Grandpa Joe, who knows the factory better than either his mom or his dad. Mr. Wonka himself, who is a jolly man with a plum-colored tailcoat and a black hat and a cane, steps out with a limp and does a somersault, indicating that he's actually a friendly man. So they go in through a hallway where the door is tiny. The lock is tiny, but the door is huge because of the surprise inside. Pure imagination, that chocolate room is, and everything in the room was edible. It was also where we met the Oompa Loompas, who turned out to be Wonka's workers, and they can sing really good songs too. But oh no, the first kid trying to find the ticket, Augustus, ended up getting sucked into a tube that led to a fudge room where they make strawberry-flavored chocolate-covered fudge. Imagine that. Augustus-flavored chocolate-covered gloop. Ew, no one would buy that. So Mr. and Mrs. Gloop have to go to the fudge room with the Oompa Loompa. Next, they find a pink seahorse boat where it takes them to the inventing room, but in the old movie, the whole thing was there's no only way of knowing exactly where they're going. So the danger must be growing. Are the fires glowing? And it goes on like that. I didn't actually say the word, but hey. But when they're in the invention room, they find everlasting gobstoppers, which are actually a candy in real life, and hair toffee. The hair toffee was too strong, though. Meanwhile, there was a 3-course meal gum, to which Wonka tells Violet, "No, stop, come back." But she ends up trying. First, there was tomato soup, then a steak and a buttery potato with sour cream, Mr. Beauregard says. But then the last course was blueberry pie and ice cream. But that causes Mrs. Beauregard says, "Violet, you're turning Violet," because she was turning blue and then swelling up like a blueberry. Mr. and Mrs. Beauregard had to follow their daughter to the juicing room. With the Oompa Loompas there. To go along the corridor, and they see things like the lickable wallpaper and fizzy lifting drinks, and of course the square candies that look round, which was amusing. A long last at the end of the corridor comes the nut room, or it's a golden egg room in the original movie. But Veruca wants either of those things, and in the old movie she even sings the "I Want It Now" song. I think that, in my version, it's too iconic not to include in my version personally. And she was a bad nut or a bad egg. Rupert and Angina even go in after her, because they're the ones who spoiled her. They even say it. There's going to be a lot of trash today. And they only light the furnace on Tuesdays, but the incinerator was broke, so there was a lot of trash to catch them. Meanwhile, Charlie, Mike, and Mr. and Mrs. TV and Grandpa Joe head to the WonkaVision TV room via the Great Glass Elevator. Unfortunately, Mike wonders about the same thing with the chocolate bar, a person. So he ends up getting all the way in there in a million pieces and on the TV. And then he even says it, "Just put me back in the other way." There was no other way. So they had to take him to the gum stretcher, or in some versions it's the taffy puller. So then, it was only Charlie left. In the old movie, Mr. Wonka decided to eliminate him on a technicality, which leads to the "you get nothing" scene. My question is, when did that ever happen in the book? Never. Because of the contract he signed, stealing the fizzy lifting drinks, but in all versions he ends up winning anyway. In the old one, it was because he returned the gobstopper. And the true prize was the factory, which Charlie took on one condition, that Mr. Wonka live with them. So, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and keep the suggestions coming. I'm going to get to them. Later. Hope you enjoy Mr. Wonka 2, everyone. Whichever version you please.